Hello, everybody. Hi, James.
Hi.
Lucky us. This is actually the second panel that we've got to do together.
It is. This time it's in person.
I know.
so
You
it's
exist
nice.
outside of that
There you
Zoom
go.
square. So
Yep.
it was good to meet you in real life today. So excited to chat Lego. And as he mentioned, probably the coolest job in the world, the creative director for Lego. So
It really is.
yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but
Right?
yes.
That's like pretty cool.
Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about what's the scope of your role?
Good question. Yeah. So someone actually asked, like, am I responsible for making the sets? I wish I was responsible for making the sets. That would be a cooler job than the one I have, I think.
Can I come up and destroy that?
So I'm part of our in-house agency, right? Just like any in-house agency, myself and my team and our agency is responsible for the outbound advertising and outbound brand communication that you see on behalf of not just product, but on behalf of the brand, on behalf of sustainability projects. Our stakeholders are across the business.
Very cool. So when we were chatting during our prep call, you had a really interesting point of view on paid media versus organic media. You're sitting a little bit in the creative world, but also touching media. What does that mix look like for you, and how has that evolved?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think it's evolving to the day, right? If you look at Twitter as a platform and whether that thing's going to exist next year or even beyond, look, historically we were a very media-driven and TV media-driven brand. That was the best way to reach our target audience, and that has evolved dramatically, right, with the pervasiveness of digital as a medium and as a media channel. But we also have some very strong brand guidelines and brand compliance teams that keep our brand safe, right? Because we believe as a predominantly kids brand that that element of safety and brand safety and how our brand shows up and who it shows up next to is incredibly important. Note, we are still not on TikTok because of that. And that is on purpose and by design, even if I wish we were creatively. So it has evolved dramatically, right? I think we've definitely moved away from the reliance, or trying to move away from the reliance of paid, and look at other opportunities from earned, from third-party retail to our owned retail experiences. How can we build similar brand experiences that media or more formal or more traditional media platforms would have historically allowed us to.
Okay, so moving away from paid and into more of those earned and organic, what have been the short-term benefits? What are you hoping is the long-term benefits of that?
I think the long-term benefits are that we're not lazy, right? I think, and I don't believe we are lazy, but I think you can, certainly in the world of, look at D2C for an example as a category, right? They were, for the most part, incredibly lazy with paid, for their reliance on paid. And the impact of, social media's advertising's efficacy is impacted those brands, right? They didn't do any brand building and they relied heavily on paid and filling the bottom of the funnel and not so much the top. So as we look at it for us, I mean, I think we're continuing to build out what our brand experience looks like, right? And the audiences that we reach. And I like to say, that the challenge with the Lego brand is that we are trying to be, in a lot of cases, all things to all people, right? We're a massive brand with a massive product portfolio that reaches a massive amount of people. So how do we get more specific and more hyper-relevant, working with our sort of global insights team and our strategy team to narrow in more specifically on opportunity audiences.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I wanted to double click on two things you said, audiences and then experiences, but let's start with audiences. So how are you understanding your audience? How are you creating content for your audience, specifically in that kind of more earned and organic channels? And how are you identifying them?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as I said, right, we could be all things to all people, and we have a massive, wide variety of products to lean into that objective, right? But we as the internal agency, right, are very hyper specific on delivering on our business goals, right? So whether that might be retention or focusing on how quickly kids are aging out of our product, right, a lot faster than they have before, to identifying specifically brand new audiences, right? So if you look at sort of emerging audiences as a theme that we've really found success at, our internal agency really prides herself on delivering on that sort of entrepreneurial external agency mentality where we pitch new ideas, right? And we don't just pitch new ideas based on the creative opportunity. I mean, my team might want me to do that, but we're looking at what ties back to the business objective, right? So, identifying new audiences that maybe we've never marketed to in the case of Latinx or Black Americans or, underserviced communities. We sort of figure out, working with our global insights team and our strategy team, to what's the best way to create a program that reaches out and engages with that audience, right? And then how do we tie it into a third-party retailer, right? So I think we have an example of something that we did for Walmart. Yeah, sure. You can play it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll explain it.
Do we have sound?
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Deep down, every kid knows
Owlie says, fly up in the air!
even the smallest things
Spin around!
I'm a person, not an owl.
can bring the biggest smiles, the loudest laughs, and worlds of imagination.
Hey, owl, I wish you could come to life.
That's a lot of big joy
Cool. It's a Lego set.
from one small toy.
Thank you, Leafy. This is so cool.
Small toy, big joy.
Okay, so the origination of that idea was seemingly pretty simple, right, in the sense that underserved and underprivileged kids didn't necessarily have access to Lego or didn't see Lego as a product for them, and parents didn't necessarily see that product for them. They saw it as a luxury, too expensive product for them. And in reality, while historically that was true, we now have a lot of smaller products, and we believe like a true value proposition of our product is that it can build and rebuild. It's not a video game that is, over with in 40 hours of play. It's a end product that inspires endless creativity. Oh, and it's not connected to a screen, which I think all parents would appreciate, right? So there is a sort of key value proposition there that maybe wasn't hitting that target audience. So we worked with our global insights team to figure out the potential business opportunity, right, that would mean to the business, right? Because yes, it all ties back to commercial momentum. And then we pitched that to our marketing partners, right, and said, hey, we think there's a huge opportunity here. Let's partner with one of our retailers. They brought it to Walmart. This was a program that was specifically designed for Walmart. There's a number of different connective pieces of that small toy, big joy idea. And for what it's worth, having that hyper-targeted, hyper-specific business strategy or creative strategy, if you will, it was globally the second most successful, most effective marketing campaign we've ever done.
Wow, if I saw that on a playground, I think I would just absolutely
Yes.
lose it. What a cool experience to be able to see the product and then take it out of there.
Yes, my
It's
hopes
amazing.
is you might see those in
Yeah,
programs.
I hope so. So really, really interesting. And I think it was unique in the way that you were able to identify, okay, this Walmart shopper is, maybe struggling to convert with our product. Where did you get that data?
It's a good question. We really, as a internal agency, work really closely with our global insights team. So we have a global insights department, right, that does a lot of things for a lot of different business units across the globe, they don't answer every call or every question that we have, but with something that was this interesting and this unique and this focused, they were a really great partner for us, right, to get, if you will, the information into that new business pitch, to then pitch it to our marketing team to say, hey, this could be a really big opportunity.
Yeah, awesome. And how about working with Walmart? You know, with the emergence of retail media networks and a lot of players in that space, what was the collaboration like with your teams and their team?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? I think we have a pretty humble approach as an internal agency, right? Much different to an external agency in the sense that I always say we know what we know, and we know what we don't know. We don't know the Walmart business that well, right? We know our retail, our third-party retail space, and we know our customer generally speaking, and we can get as much data as we can, right? But we're very conscious for all the reasons of, so what we do from a business strategy standpoint is work with and strategically work with external agencies, right? So in this case, we brought on Momentum, which is Walmart's agency of record by design, and because we are a creative agency, it's a very different relationship than your traditional brand to client relationship. We approach it very much from, hey, agency X, we know you've got a producer, we know you've got a project manager, we know you've got strategists. We have all that too, and we want to keep them on this project because they know our business better than you do. Let's work out an agreement where we can pull out the best of your creative team, combine it with the best of our creative team, and you make some magic. So that's the approach. Doesn't always work, but that's the approach.
Sounds like it went really well this time. Awesome. So this kind of brought up a really interesting point that you and I were talking about before is, you have to identify your audience first. You don't necessarily need to take your product and then just push it to an audience. You have to identify the audience first and then find the right product. We talked about grandparents. They're often an overlooked target for Lego and maybe similar brands too. So give us some more instances of where you see that happening and how your team is kind of really looking to evolve there.
Yeah. So I talked about it right from this sort of, I'm going to say, entrepreneurial mindset that we've built into our team, but we have a scope of work, right, where we have to deliver on behalf of the business, and that's agreed at the same time every year, right? And it's everything from developing the creative campaign for Lego Minecraft 2023 product assortment, right? Stuff like that happens every year. We have product that goes on shelf, that doesn't change. But we've really tried to build in with our stakeholders this sort of mentality of what we call sort of 70-20-10 model, where 70% of our team's time is dedicated to the work and doing the day-to-day stuff. 10% of your time is based on personal development and professional development, and then that 20% of your time is focused on proactive ideation, right? And coming up with new ideas and going after sort of inspirational things that we think we might be able to apply. So part of that 20% that we do is we have this thing called Pirate Week, where once a week every year we stop all work, for the most part. Stop all work. We put about 16 creative briefs out there that, for the most part, ladder up to some sort of business challenge or something. They don't always. And this was based on, work with our strategy team to identify new opportunities. And someone basically came up with this idea of, grandparents. They're a massive shopper. And all grandparents do is receive, AARP ads or medical ads or medicine ads. There's such a huge opportunity to do something really fun. And it's that sort of mentality that we're trying to build into our teams and build into our marketing partners that enable and empower that sort of approach.
Awesome. Speaking of fun, there's many ways that everyone from all ages can experience Lego. Things like the flagship stores, Lego Late, which you were just telling me about. So, creating this experience at all touch points. I know Apple's done this really well. You open up the Apple box, you're about to experience this iPhone, then from start to finish, you're working with this Apple product. So how are you guys at Lego trying to kind of create that same type of user experience from every touch point?
Yeah, it's something our CMO talks about all the time, right? We are not a toy company. She loves saying this. We're not a toy company. We're an experience brand. You could be like, what? I don't know. Of course you're a toy company, right? But I think what she's alluding to is that sort of Apple experience, right? From the single sign-in experience that they have with Apple ID, all the way through to the unboxing, all the way through to walking in a retail store. That Apple experience is premium and it's going to deliver, generally speaking, right? And I think she's really inspired by, what we've done from an entertainment standpoint, becoming an entertainment property with the movies and the kids' content, and sort of our popularity of some of our YouTube content. But looking at retail is like a really unique gap, right? I think historically or previously we've used retail as, simply a commercial driver. Duh, it's retail. But there's a huge opportunity to build out what that retail experience looks like, especially from an own standpoint, right? And we've, I think, built out something like 150 retail stores in China, for example. We are going all in on retail. And one thing that we've done that I am absolutely obsessed with, I can't tell you if it's been successful or not, and I also, my team and myself were not behind it at all, but I was that inspired about it that I was like tweeting and LinkedIn, posting about it on LinkedIn when I saw it, was this idea of Lego Lates, right? So we have identified adults as a consumer, as a focused consumer. They were always a consumer, but we weren't really catering to them with our product assortment. Now you'll see many more $800 plus sets for reasons. They're not for your teenager. They are for, adults. So this idea that the retail team came up with was called Lego Lates. And it is a late night program at our flagship retail stores just for adults. You have to be over 21. There's alcohol served. Which is crazy for us as a brand. There's music, and it's, a dedicated adult party for Lego, right? Party's the wrong word, but like it's an experience.
It's a party if you make it a party.
Yes. But I think it's like, it's that experience of like really catering to a certain type of audience and being very focused about that rather than going so broad, which is what historically we've done.
So when's the next Lego Late that we can all check out in New York City?
I don't know. I should... yeah, see, it's a really it's a really fun thing. I was there at our first one, which is about 3 weeks ago. It was the same week as Ad Week. But yeah, it's a really interesting program, right? And when I saw it, I was freaking out because it just seems so smart.
Well, it's a really great example of working, I would say, seeing ways that different departments at the company can come together and really share that same objective of growing your audience, growing the experience, growing the brand. So what best practices would you share for marketers that are looking to collaborate with other departments within?
Yeah, listen, Lego's a 25,000 person company. We are a matrix on top of a matrix with a matrix underneath that matrix, right? It is a very complicated, dare I say, complicated business. And we're a manufacturing business by heart, right? So it goes in direct opposite correlation of the creative process. But I think you've got to break through the barriers, right? I think every single department that's a perfect example of like the Lego Lates thing, right? The moment I saw that, I reached out to the head of the retail team and was like, this is such a cool program. How can we help? Right? And their natural reaction was like, what do you mean you want to help? I'm like, well, it's an amazing program. There's surely ways that we can build into it. Whereas, they are in their own little silo, as we all tend to be, doing what they need to do, deliver on their business objectives in their business unit, right? So I just continually reach across and ask when I see really cool things, like how can we get involved in that? How can we support you? I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's how I've done it. Yeah.
Awesome. We're coming up on the holiday time period, so 2023 is right around the corner. Before I ask what should be on your shopping list for the holidays, for 2023, what are some of the things you're most excited about creative-wise to test and explore?
That's a good question. I'm a little scared about 2023. Is everyone else scared about 2023? Yeah, okay. I dare I say I'm very scared about 2023. But let's hope we have a good holiday season, everyone, not just Lego. I think it's more about living into those examples I talked about, right? So I'm here tomorrow for a workshop for a product announcement tied to 2023 that historically would have lived just in digital channels, right? Email, social, the standard stuff. And I'm very much focused on how can we create a physical experience. It may not be global, it may not be scalable, but I want to create that physical retail experience for this product because I think it's that cool. So that would be a singular example I'm looking forward to. I think I'm looking forward to more entertainment formats, right, and building that. Dare I say, I hate people that say it, and I keep on saying this, the like capital B brand type stuff that we're working on. I think that's really exciting, and I'm very lucky to work for a brand that both values that and has a great brand before I even had anything to do with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, holidays. What should be on our shopping list? I personally saw that there's a new The Office set that just came out,
Yes.
and as a big fan of The Office, I need to check that out.
The greedy part of me would say buy the most expensive set, which is the new Eiffel Tower, which is so big. It's like, I think it's 4.5 feet, I believe. Massive footprint. No, what should be, I'm a nostalgic elder millennial, technically. So I love the Nintendo partnership. We have like the classic Nintendo Entertainment System set that you can build, and it has like the cartridge, and the cartridge clicks, and it's all Lego built. Fucking cool. I think the architecture set's really fun. If you're looking for, there's a bunch of the botanical SKUs that we've come out with. If you want something for anybody, the botanical sets are awesome. Very good desk props.
Awesome. Love it. Don't forget, guys, write that down.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to open it up to questions. All right.
Okay, good. Questions in the room? What? I'm going to go first because this is Lego.
Oh, wow. Okay, good.
And I have the microphone.
You get to, yeah.
One observation, I used to love when my kids had Lego sets and then you'd build them and then they all eventually go in the tub and then it just becomes like a mashup because they all kind of work together. I always loved that about Legos.
Yeah.
What about Legos, and again, this question comes from an audio person.
right.
What about Lego's sonic identity? Do you
Yes.
think about that? The sound of Lego, what the brand sounds like?
Oh, it's such a big hot topic of mine. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear.
I love it. I will say that the rest of the organization, that sounds mean. The rest of the organization maybe hasn't figured out how to monetize it per se.
Yeah.
But you may see some things next year that tie to more sonic branding and right, because that sound of sorting through Lego, for me, at least, is one, nostalgic and two, therapeutic AF.
I agree. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
I'm going across the room here.
Great talk.
Thanks.
Question about the Lego Lates. Do you see yourself going through like a new creative strategy, kind of reach this new sort of segment of Lego consumer, considering most of the creative is usually either aimed at consumers, which are, I guess, would be kids in the traditional sense, right? Or Lego shoppers, which would be the parents. And now you're kind of hitting like the parent fan with the Lego Lates. Is that going to evolve in 2023? I know it's a tough year to probably do that, but do you see as a creative director like that as like an exciting new channel for you to explore, since you won't be necessarily beholden to like COPPA restrictions and all the like?
Big time, right? Like COPPA compliance is a real thing, right? We don't market to kids. That would be illegal, right? So this idea of adults as a target audience, and not even parents, like straight up adults, it's the most exciting thing to do from a creative standpoint, right? So similarly to grandparents, right? Any way that gets us out of the more traditional stuff that we've done, I'm very excited about creatively. So yes. Yep.